Let's say we have a box and we would like on one side of the box cut off 50% of its height, like what I'm hatching here right now, and then have what I have like here in red, a transitional surface that looks like kind of like an S. What I would do first is always try to see again other proportional elements I could use. And as you can see, this actually looks kind of like 1/2, and this is maybe close to a quarter, close to a quarter, and even horizontally, this actually looks like 1/2 and 1/2. This really helps a lot actually, because now I can go ahead and try to transfer all this onto my created cube below so that this side profile I can create accurately as a perspective element. So what can I do first? Well, we have to create the midlights. So for this, I will create my diagonals on the easiest to draw face, which is actually here in the front, because in there I found actually the midpoint of that face, and then when I run a line through there, you see here where it cuts actually those edges, and then to the other vanishing point there I have actually the line that's 50% height-wise. And if everything is drawn correctly, if I connect these two endpoints, my guide, and when you ghost, should ideally go towards the vanishing point, and it does. So this is actually correct. So let's draw in this line. Okay, good. So now we have figured out this line. Before I go into constructing this S part, I will actually have to subdivide this whole space. So I get 1/2 and 1/2, and then actually I can subdivide the left space one more time to get the quarters. So here I will go ahead and mark a line. In this case, I don't need to do anything more because where this diagonal cuts actually this midline, I already have my geometrical midpoint, and there it is. So you see, it looks a little bit kind of like harsh maybe, and that is okay because we are in perspective, so the foreshortening makes this part look much smaller. So then we can go ahead and say, well, we have to also find the midpoint here, and we will see if I now do this diagonal, it will cut actually at the same position, more or less there. Okay, so let's transfer this up, because actually this is the only point I really need. And here I will draw myself a line, because this line actually describes the start edge of the S-curve, and I actually can also put down the ending edge of that curve. So I will go to there and then draw a line from this mid edge to there. Perfect. Okay. So you see that we have, for example, here a small vertical plane. That plane actually helps us to understand maybe where the height is. We can, for example, also draw down if we want to something like this. So a line. So this is actually not an S transition right now, but more like a linear transition. And I will just, on a new layer, quickly ink in some of these edges so we can kind of see the shape. It's kind of funny, the whole day I was working on an iPad and I just actually tried to, with my 2 fingers, zoom in on my Wacom tablet. But it's not a Wacom tablet with a touch interface. So there you can quickly see the shape actually we created. And this is a very small surface we only see. So based on the perspective view, now I created this object actually kind of centered, so 45, and then it goes to the right side. I cannot see much of the surface. So if I would like to see the surface a little bit more, then instead of centered, maybe this line here should be more to the side. So this face I will see less because it will be at a more grazing angle, but this face I would see more, thus the resulting angled surface I would see more. So be careful about this when you have surfaces that are not flat but maybe go down. Based on the angle, you might see the surface more or less. That's also one of the reasons why those really quick sketches very often are very helpful to figure out a good perspective. Okay, so it's time now to maybe take a look at how could we do accurately the S. So let's go in here and we'll come from here, go down and go this way. Let's take a look if this is maybe close to this line. It is pretty close. Maybe this feels a little bit better. Okay, so how do I transfer this now over onto the other area? I could go ahead and say there and hope actually that maybe I can do this curve as accurately as possible, but chances are high maybe this one you do a little bit longer, this maybe a little bit too pinched, so it's not the same. So what I would do, again, on the edge that is the easiest to draw onto, we do our nice profile, and I try to draw this one, the lower part I always mess up. This is too rounding started too early. Yeah, maybe like this. This should look like actually a blend surface in a CAD program. And I will clean this up a little bit. Oops, it's still on. There and there. Okay, so how do I get this now transferred over perfectly to the other side? Well, I have 2 points, but to make an S-curve, that's not really enough. I might need some extra lines. So let's go to here and turn on our guide tool. And obviously on a computer this is now a lot easier to do than by hand, but you can see the steps you still should try to follow as close as possible. So I see if I zoom in here, the S is a little bit parallel to this upper edge. And then at this point it starts to fade down. So I can actually maybe mark this dot. So that's basically maybe where it would start. And here, maybe there. Small line. Okay. So where, for example, would be this point? You know what? I will actually use a different color so it's easier to see later. So I could at one position draw a straight line down. So I see where actually it cuts this point. Main reason for that is now if I draw a line over to the other side of my box, also here with the height, I draw a line. I can then zoom in here and there I see I have found this other point. And you see the end of my curve will be there. So this is kind of like the midpoint. Now let's go with green. Let's say I would like to find this point here. So let's bring this over to the vanishing point. There a line. There it cuts. I draw less lines in so it's not too confusing visually. So there I have my other point. And let's do the next one just with a red so the dots are easier to see. I would like to find maybe this height here. So you see I'm just sampling down actually height positions. And obviously this is a really tiny detail. If you're very good in sketching, now obviously you will eyeball this. But eyeballing there means you already memorized how it has to look like. So it's better actually if you're a beginner to construct it, because it teaches you how stuff has to look. And there we have now the start, going over, going down, and there. So let's try to draw this curve. Okay, and see how well we can recreate it. So it goes through there, and there. And let's compare, and you see, that's actually very close. So this front S is actually at a stronger gazing angle towards you, so the shape will be different. The back S is more on a face that at one point will become parallel to your kind of like your eyes. So the S will be flatter, more stretched. So this is actually quite normal. You can't actually take this shape and simply copy it over, because that would be not really correct in terms of perspective for shortening and distortion. So, and then actually now we could go ahead and sketch in all the missing lines. I will do this actually with red as well. So there and there we have this line. Up here we have this line. There we have this line, and then a line there. There. And for example here. Okay, so now the next question is, how much of the surface that bends down do we actually see? So from the vanishing point, I have to put this guideline onto, you see, like from the top I'm coming down, I have to put it on the highest peak of this S curve. And wherever that touches, ideally it also has to touch on the backside. And you see this little bit of construction work really helped. No, I want to stay here. Really helped projecting a really good S over. So, and in reality, everything we only would see now, you see all this stuff, all that extra work I did here, we hardly even see. So this actually can go. But this is a small detail you need to have. You see like where it actually, where this edge starts to arc or bend, and then actually it flows towards this direction to this point here. And there we have it. A perfectly constructed S-like surface. And you see, you don't, from this view, you don't really see much. I picked this view because at one point on this area here, we would like to construct another object onto, if I would have put this face actually more into this position, then it would be a smaller object. The way how that battery charger is built, this is the better, more ideal look at it. But I just wanted to use this to show you. Be careful about the different views you pick, because certain surfaces, when they're at different heights, you will see, or like in this case, you will not see.